You're listening to the Raw Reaction on the Angry Marks Podcast Network.
It's Monday night, and we're glad to have you for a little reunion, if you will. This is the Angry Tensai, and with me, as always, is Big Dick. Big Dick, I'm excited to be here tonight. In fact, we didn't even say a word to each other. We just said, get us on the air, because I heard your initial reaction, which was one sentence, which I didn't respond to. What a Raw tonight.
Yes, WWE has the last 2 weeks. They've earned my $9.99. As of this weekend for Royal Rumble, I will be a new subscriber to the WWE Network once again.
Big Dick, you know me. I'm a fan of nostalgia. I'm a fan of the Attitude Era. I'm a fan of WCW, and I'm that guy that, despite work rate, would have the Outsiders booked in the main event of Raw till this day, even if they couldn't walk to the ring, because that's how much I love those guys. And
they could barely walk to the ring tonight, so you're pretty close.
Dick, I'm so excited, I don't even know where to start.
You know, can I break in then?
Don't rain on our parade with
nope.
negativity.
Nope. I was just going to note that tonight's Raw was full of veterans, and we have some veterans of our own for tonight's show. We didn't get to mention it last week, but last week was our 200th episode.
Wow.
Of Raw Reaction, and I was trying to get some of the veterans of our past shows to come on and say something, but everybody's schedules kind of went all wonky, so that didn't happen. But our previous hosts, Frank Vaughn and Chris Judd, and they wish you the best, and congratulations on hitting milestone 200 episodes. They're glad to see that the show is continued on. And best of luck in continuing the show. So congratulations, we are at episode 201. Woohoo!
Congrats to you. Congrats to me. Congrats to Big Dick. But I think you're missing one of the Raw Reaction hosts, weren't you?
Well, I didn't get to hear back from Alex Goff, and that is because Alex Goff has been sick, so he's not even been on Facebook to say anything. So I hope Alex gets better soon.
Is he really sick, or just regular sick?
I've not seen him post a message since his wife posted something on his behalf last week. So
what'd she say was wrong with him?
I don't know. I just know that he's been sick and he's not been around. So I hope he's getting better.
Jeez, thank you, Debbie Downer. I guess congrats to Raw Reaction. Anyway, I guess Dick, there's so much great stuff to cover tonight.
I don't know where to start. I don't think there was a bad. Outside of the women's match, I don't think there was a bad segment.
No, the whole thing, dude, I watched Raw, and did nothing else. I don't know.
Yeah, it was pretty great.
And today's Martin Luther King Day. There was a Martin Luther King Day package. Did that do anything for you?
I was full chub for that. Full chub.
I know you are. But, I guess where I want to start, just because I thought it was such an interesting segment. There was, let's just so everybody knows, there was a lot of, old timers I wouldn't even call them old timers, but a lot of the true legends of the industry. You had the NWO, which is Nash, Hall, X-Pac, Hogan, all in the house tonight, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, Triple H, the New Age Outlaws. It was a hell of a show. Well, there was a segment where the Outsiders actually came out. It was Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, and X-Pac, and they do their usual stick, and they take a survey. Everybody's behind the NWO. Everybody's excited. I'm going friggin' crazy. Kevin Nash looks huge. They sound awesome on the mic. X-Pac gets everybody fired up. And Kevin Nash makes a comment and said, I loved it. He said, pretty much, if it wasn't for the three of us, and the NWO, nothing that's here today would be any good, which I thought was awesome. And then I couldn't believe it. I really feel bad for these guys and what ensued. The Ascension came out and cut off the legendary, iconic New World Order. And we're not talking LOD, and you guys can kill me in chat and all the great tag teams. This is the New World Order they cut off. I mean, you're going to another level here. What'd you think when the Ascension came out?
You know what? I think that I could see them backstage about like 20 minutes before, where they're like, okay, it's like this is how we're booking it, and like they're probably like pissing their pants just even like in the same room as Kevin Nash and Scott Hall and X-Pac, and they're like, yeah, and you're gonna come out during their segment, their NWO reminiscing segment, after they get a huge pop for saying they created everything, and you're gonna try to run them down. And I could just see him being like, it's like, can we go back to NXT, please? Like, we were freaking stars there. We were freaking legit. Like, here we are freaking, and it's not even like, oh my gosh, we hate you because you're bad guys. It's legit go away heat.
It was
like,
bad, dude.
You could hear a pin drop during that segment. I'm like,
Dude,
holy shit.
I felt so bad for them, dude. You had Nash, Hall, and X-Pac out in full NWO gear. You had the Titantron. You had the theme music. You had the crowd behind him. X-Pac looks like he can go. Nash looks like $1 million. Hall doesn't look good. We know that, but he looks as good as he's gonna look. But the other two,
still alive. That's pretty good for him.
The problem with Nash, and I said this when they booked him in the birthday angle, is he looks like he could beat down 90% of the roster. And it just doesn't work when you're trying to book him as like a pathetic old timer, because he looks awesome. Like there's no doubt in my mind he would have killed the Ascension. The poor Ascension. Victor, like, and their mannerisms, and I'm not talking about you, Victor, Rick Victor and Connor, I felt so bad for him, because they are very confident on NXT, but they looked very unsure of themselves out there, and the crowd was just hating them. And then what made it worse is the NWO improv, when Nash, like, was basically just, like, laughing in their face. Like, just, like, they didn't even step back. He was laughing at him, pretending to be a puppy dog. Like, it was bad, man. And then to make matters worse, the NWO is about to kick the crap out of him. And then Bradshaw stops. JBL stands up and he goes, you know what? No, I'm not letting this happen. You're not going to run down the NWO. You're not going to run down the great tag teams. I'm going to kick your ass tonight, but I'm going to do it with one of my boys. And then all of a sudden the APA music hits and Ron Simmons comes down, and I'm like, oh man, it's going to get even worse for the Ascension. And then the APA is about to destroy the Ascension. It gets worse. The Outlaws come out. They're still in shape from last year when they ran the tag team division. And lo and behold, the New Age Outlaws and everybody just takes turns beating their ass. And the Outlaws look awesome. And Billy Gunn does like a spinning tilt-a-whirl slam on one of the Ascension guys. I think it was Victor. I mean, it was not good. The Ascension looked like complete jabronis. What'd you think? Big Vic. Oh, Big Vic got cut off. Kev, if you could patch Vic back in, he got dropped there, but here he is. So Vic, we just left off with what the Outlaws did. I mean, so at this point, the Outlaws take out the Ascension. I mean, what were you thinking? I mean, the segment's over. Everybody just took their turns humiliating the Ascension. I don't understand. It was awesome though. I loved it.
Yeah, it was pretty great. And I was actually waiting for Stevie Ray to come out and join up with Booker T. When after Ron Simmons came out, you hear Booker T be like, hold up, or hold the phone here, or something like that. And I'm thinking, oh man, where's Stevie Ray right now? He's gonna come out with Booker T, and it's gonna be an old school freaking real ass whooping. But it was pretty badass to see Bradshaw and Ron Simmons looking a little plump there. But hey, you know what? He was a legend in his day.
No doubt. You know what though? I'll say this. I wish the Usos took that ass whooping from all the legends. I didn't like to see my boys, the Ascension, get beat like that. But you know what, man? It just goes to show you're going up against the NWO, the APA, and the Outlaws. It just shows you star power. And you know, I don't want to get going on this again because I am high on all the young talents of today, but they're not these guys. And these guys can come back anytime they want and just piss on the card because that's what people want to say, whether you like it or not. regular WWE fan. It was cool. It was very cool. But this just in, the Ascension, I'm not joking. The Ascension's going to take on the New Age Outlaws at Royal Rumble. That's awesome. I can't wait. That's pretty cool.
It seems like January of every year. I don't know if it's Road Dogg and Billy Gunn. They need a paycheck to hold them over for the year. They get a big tax bill or something. Last year, if you remember, they came back and they were the tag team champions at some point.
They were awesome. They were the best tag team going. You know what, man?
It was different roads, bro.
Yeah, it just goes to show you WWE needs an off season, like literally 3 months where there's no wrestling, nothing. Because I kind of feel like I shouldn't watch WWE till the Royal Rumble, and it's almost good they got rid of the Elimination Chamber because that pay-per-view was so freaking awesome every year that the 3 best pay-per-views were back to back to back, and it's like, if you see those 3 months, you really don't have to watch the rest of the year.
Yeah, that's, I think I texted you the other day. I'm pretty much going to be subscribing to WWE Network later this week, and I think I figured out it's like 4 or 5 months, and I'll get everything. I'll get whatever the Elimination Chamber replacement is, the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, Money in the Bank, and then like one more pay-per-view between Money in the Bank and WrestleMania. And those are, after that, it's sort of, okay, SummerSlam, give or take, but that's the only thing that's relevant until WrestleMania, or until Royal Rumble again.
I agree with you. I dropped WWE Network for a while. I actually picked it up the week before Survivor Series, and I'm glad I did, because Survivor Series was very good this year. But, after WrestleMania, I'll reevaluate, because, Raw gives you good product too. If the pay-per-views aren't going to have the big talent on it, there's no reason to watch. Speaking of big talent, you even look at Brock Lesnar. He's on Raw every week now, because this is the time of year where things get serious. Show starts tonight. Brock Lesnar comes out, and he started it really cool. Paul Heyman was about to start being his mouthpiece, and basically Brock Lesnar said, "Not tonight, Paul. I'm here for a fight. I'm here to kick Seth Rollins' ass. Seth, get out here." Seth Rollins wouldn't come out. Triple H comes out and says, "Hey, listen, you know what? We don't want to do this now. Let's get to the back. Let's talk. We can't do this. We can't have this happen." Seth Rollins comes up on the Titantron and basically incites Brock Lesnar. Lucky for the Authority, John Cena inserts himself in the situation, is able to really deflect from the whole scenario. Brock Lesnar decides to back down for a minute. Cena basically says, I want to bring my friends back. Same crap we've been saying. Basically, bottom line in the first segment, somehow John Cena sets up a scenario where a vote can come down, where Cena can take on an unknown opponent tonight and have the chance to get back the 3 contracts for his friends, Rowan, Ziggler, and Ryback. But the rub is, if not, if he loses, he would not be in the pay-per-view main event, Royal Rumble for the world title. So Lesnar, he thought that would be cool, so he kind of shut up. Brock Lesnar wasn't sure, Cena wasn't sure if he should do it, but it's not up to him, it's up to the WWE app. At the time, I thought the segment wasn't good, Big Dick, but for what it set up at the end of the night, it actually was very good, because it set up the ending of the show. What'd you think?
Yeah. I didn't like it just because they've repeated this with Cena. It's like that's the prevailing theme since the Authority came back and fired them. It's every week. John Cena's been fighting and losing. And it's been, 2-3 weeks? So they lost their job they basically took they took like a 3-week break, these guys. And they're going to come back for the pay-per-view. That's not I don't know. It makes getting fired insignificant.
It kind of makes everything that took place between Survivor Series and tonight insignificant.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well, hey, the one big thing was those guys are losing their job. But unfortunately, it's been talked about every week, and you know that they're going to come back. Whether it be them coming back at the Royal Rumble or after John Cena's match or whatever, you knew they were going to come back. You're not going to get rid of it. Maybe if it wasn't Dolph Ziggler, you can do something. But, the thing is, they talk about him every week, so you know that there's going to be an angle that they're going to come back. So I did not like that at all.
I agree with you, but the problem with that is, like, we didn't really talk about the last segment yet, but if the three of them come back, let's just say for argument's purposes, John Cena wins the match tonight. Why would Triple H put them in the Royal Rumble? Like, okay, so they're back, but he still shouldn't put them in the Royal Rumble. So I don't know how they can insert themselves.
30 spots. They need to fill spots. They're 30 live bodies and they're big guys. There's no reason they shouldn't be in the Royal Rumble at this point.
But Triple H doesn't want him in the Federation. Why would he book him in the Royal Rumble? That's what I'm saying. Right? I mean, think about it. Well, the WWE app voted, and of course they want John Cena to have the match tonight. 85% of the votes for John Cena. He has to put his title spot on the line. I would say, I wasn't excited about the match when it was announced. It was announced that Big Show, and there was a great segment with Big Show later on in the night, or earlier in the night we'll talk about, but it was Big Show, Kane, and Seth Rollins in a handicap match versus John Cena. What else is new in the main event? John Cena, basically I could sum this up for you. John Cena gets hit with everyone's finishers. John Cena gets hit with everything but the literal kitchen sink. Kicks out of everything. He won't give up. He almost got counted out. He leapt into the ring from the middle of the aisle at the 9 count from being dead. I mean, it's just typical John Cena. However, he was about to get curb stomped after taking, everybody else's finishers. It looked like he was about to go down. And then, much to my surprise, I can tell you I didn't see this coming. And I went freaking crazy. Sting! Yes! Sting is back. Sting is shown over the Titantron as music hits. And you're like, what the hell is this? And it looks like it's the picture of Sting. But Sting actually walks out on the aisle, points at Triple H, and then Cena rolls up Rollins to bring back the good guys. I don't know. I love seeing Sting. It's awesome.
I like seeing Sting. I like the involvement. The thing I didn't like is WWE, when they booked that match with Cena, they booked themselves into a corner with it. Like, there was no way that I mean, they're talking about, oh gosh, the odds are against him. If anybody can do it, John Cena can, but he's going to get his ass kicked. Like, the announcers were talking up the whole time. They didn't know a chance. So basically, okay, it's going to happen. And I don't know, between that and putting their careers on the line and putting his shot at the title on the line, I mean, you sort of knew Cena was going to win that match. Or at least I did going in. I mean, I thought, okay, geez, next actor, 7 people against him. He's going to somehow find a way to win. It's what John Cena does, and they need a way to get those 3 wrestlers back into the fold at the same time. And they're not going to take John Cena out of pay-per-view unless he got injured or something and just couldn't go.
I have a question. You have literally a former cruiserweight champion in Jamie Noble, a multi-time tag team champion in Joey Mercury, and arguably one of the greatest world champions of all time in the modern era, Triple H, on the outside of the ring. Around the apron, you have the Big Show and Kane. Why
no,
in the
were in the match?
What's that?
They were in the match. They were in the match too.
No, what I'm saying, the legal man at the time was Seth Rollins. So just think about this. Like, if I was Seth Rollins, I know Show and Kane are in the arena. Obviously, they're my tag partners. And I have Noble, I have Mercury, and I have Triple H outside the ring, right? Why would I care what's going on in the Titantron or on the ramp? I would finish the match. I would never take my eye off the ball. Why does that always happen? Like, I don't like that move in wrestling. Like, I don't think the competitor would ever pay attention to what's going on around him. It's like, imagine a running back gets the football and he's fighting for yardage and something comes over the Jumbotron. They're not even going to pay attention to it. They're not even going to realize it. They're focused on the task at hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I definitely get what you're saying, but that's the way WWE can play it off is saying, oh, geez, Sting cost the Authority that match, and Sting's the reason. So, I mean, he didn't get involved physically. He didn't give anything away. But you know what? He was the spoiler for the Authority, so he built the storyline. And I really like the Sting involvement, and I think I texted you during the show after, I forget if it was before or after the backstage segment with Seth Rollins and Lesnar. I said, hey, looks like we're going to have a Lesnar face turn right now.
I didn't, I didn't have my phone on, but that's a good call. And I wouldn't have saw that at that moment. But my God, Lesnar he makes Rollins look like such a child, and so, it's like, it's not even like, I don't even take it seriously. It's like the former UFC champion, up against, I mean, come on, Seth Rollins, like, dude, really? Like, I don't even take it seriously. It's just so funny to see them on the screen together. Like, Rollins has no business. He looks like how the Ascension looked out there with the NWO. They really look just shell-shocked, and, the bottom line was, I guess before we get to the Lesnar point of the segment, where Lesnar comes out after Sting, but, like, do they pay Sting, like, a good value to just come out and stand there and point? I mean, that seems like a big paycheck that they have to dish out for so little in return. Like, I don't know. I just think if you're going to use a character like Sting or like any of these guys and you're going to pay that much money for them to make an appearance, they should get involved. Like, like tonight, for instance, the way Brock Lesnar closed the show literally was the best closing to any show I've seen in the last couple of years.
Yeah, but I think that they pay, and this might just be Lesnar, but they probably have something with Sting too. I mean, Sting's on a Legends contract, so it's a little different. But I think with Lesnar, they do it per appearance and then per appearance with physical contact, and they're like different rates. And Kev, you might know about this. I think we had talked about that at some point, but I think it's two different things. Like, because like last week and this week, obviously there was like physical contact, but there's times where he just comes out and talks and doesn't do anything.
Well, you know what? Brock Lesnar comes out after the melee because he's pissed that Rollins basically lost this, and now he's got to fight John Cena. Because what I like about the subliminal message of this, and I like how this was written, and I don't think it was meant to be that way, but it's how I interpret it. I interpret Brock Lesnar's character viewing Seth Rollins as such an easy opponent. He was willing to give him a pass so that he didn't have to fight John Cena because he actually respects John Cena as opponent. And now he's like, you know what, you blew this. I'm just going to come out and just kick your ass. And Lesnar comes into the ring, and he just literally, all three men jump him. He literally F5's Kane like he's a rag doll. And honestly, he just manhandled Big Show and F5'd him. It was just awesome. Lesnar, the crowd went wild, went crazy.
And a couple things about the Rollins, a couple things about the Rollins thing, and I'm gonna go through the show the Rollins Lesnar dynamic. A couple of things that I noticed. First of all, when Triple H came out, I forgot the end of the show last week how exactly it went down, but basically it was Brock Lesnar who did like he suplexed Cena, he suplexed Rollins. Triple H came out. I forgot the end of the show last week how exactly it went down. Hey, Kev, base fired.
That wasn't me. That was on Mr. Tenzai's end.
No, it wasn't.
It was too.
Alright, so anyway, Triple H points out, like, yo, look, it's like, you're the one who attacked him last week. All he did was take advantage of the opportunity when it presented itself and curb stomped you. So, I mean, hey, you know what? I can understand that Brock Lesnar's pissed, but I mean, just be pissed at, hey, it's like, you gotta fight and hate your opponents. I love the backstage segment where Rollins and Lesnar came up to each other. Rollins looked like he was going to shit his pants after Brock Lesnar walked away. That was pretty funny.
I agree. Well,
and I think it was it's almost like I don't want to say the chicken. I don't know if you call Rollins chicken shit heel. I think that he's more. Everybody just hates it. He's just the easy guy to hate right now, and I think he's the best heel they've had in a very long time. He's
a good heel, but honestly though, I'm telling you, just as a nature of what I do for a living, I can read body language, and this is subtle body language because these guys are actors, but they're not really trained actors. You can truly see when guys are uncomfortable. Like I can sense it, I can see it, and it's so apparent to me the intimidation Seth Rollins and Ascension have for the guys they're working up their respective programs with. I mean, could you imagine being Ascension tonight? Like, I really felt bad for them tonight. And I love those guys. I'm just like, oh my god, they're booked with Nash and Hall. I mean, this is so bad. Like, who would do this to them? And I feel the same way for Seth Rollins. He has all this momentum, and you're booking him with arguably the most legitimate professional in wrestling history. Literally a former UFC heavyweight champion, the guy who ended the Undertaker streak. I mean, literally, I mean, it's crazy that they would put Rollins, who's so physically inferior to Lesnar, in the same program as him. And honestly, it's a joke if Lesnar doesn't walk out of Royal Rumble with the title. You know what? I can't buy anyone taking the belt off him. It's just a joke. You know, you can't. Yeah. Brock Lesnar's a man.
You think that, but you have to remember that Seth Rollins, he doesn't have to win the match. He has to, okay, let's say Cena gets F5, he's unconscious. Lesnar beats him, he's celebrating. Rollins curb stomps him from behind, cashes in the Money in the Bank. He's the champion.
That's terrible, though.
I love it, because if there's any more of a way to make him a heel, that's the way to make him a heel. Even more of a heel, and a chicken shit heel, which everybody hates. I mean, I love him as a heel because he's hated by everyone.
I want him to be in a false count anywhere match, and I want him to get hit by a freaking car, dude. Like, that's it. Lesnar has to be literally incapacitated, or you need a world-class athlete, someone legitimate, to beat him, like a Kurt Angle or somebody like that, because it just doesn't make sense. You can't. You just, at this point, you can't. And speaking of which, you know, I look at Big Show, you know, I really, really, really hate Big Show's new character. Like, this let's talk about the past character. Like, I normally like that, you know, somebody tells the story of, you know, how great they were and reminds us of their feats, because WWE likes to forget all that. So, I think it's cool that Big Show is reminding us of who he was. But when he came out tonight, there was a Legends panel to talk about the Royal Rumble. You know, you got Hulk Hogan, HBK, and Ric Flair having a lot of fun out there. Bray Wyatt is the selection of HBK to win the Royal Rumble. You got Hogan picking Daniel Bryan. You got Mr. Ric Flair picking Dean Ambrose, which I loved. And then Big Show comes out to the ring to basically threaten all the legends, talks to them about how jealous they were of him, rubs in Hogan's face that he took the title from him the first night in the Federation in WCW, tells Shawn Michaels that he faked the back injury to avoid him. Yeah, right. And then tells some fictitious story about how he buried Ric Flair and sent him to the mid-card. You know, I hated the segment. I freaking hated it. And I loved Ric Flair just literally showing no respect to Big Show and just taking his gear off and getting ready to fight him. But my God, if I ever, I'm so glad Roman Reigns came out and destroyed Big Show. Big Show actually did a really good job of being a heel. For once, he did a really good job at something, because I hated him at that moment.
I was going to say, I hated when they were saying, you sold out. He's like, I did what I had to do for my family. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude. It's like, let's bring up your strip malls again. Really? It's like, we can't let that go? Come on.
What about the Ironclad contract?
Ironclad contract.
You realize Big Show got his ass kicked and knocked over the top rope after saying no one will ever be able to eliminate him. And I'm literally waiting for Hogan or Michaels to grab the mic and be like, dude, you've been eliminated the last 15 years in a row without issue. But I guess nobody can say that. But when JBL's like, he's the odds-on favorite to win the Royal Rumble for obvious reasons. And then Booker T goes, well, I guess you're right. Like, come on, guys. He never wins. Come on.
Yeah, he might be, I don't know what to say. He's almost a guaranteed out.
Yes, he's like Greg Khali, dude.
I just thought of somebody who I can see, depending on how the main event goes, I can see winning the Royal Rumble.
Who?
RKO out of nowhere.
Oh, it's going to be RKO out of nowhere. No one's calling it except me, bro. You know, I think it's RKO out of nowhere is going to win the Royal Rumble, whether anyone likes it or not. Randy Orton will win the Royal Rumble. You heard it last week. You're hearing it from me this week, and are you agreeing?
Absolutely. I didn't even remember you calling it last week.
No, I said it's going to be RKO. No, I was going crazy about it.
Kev, we're gonna have to replay last week's show and find out.
Last week about RKO out of nowhere.
Yeah, you called it.
Don't you steal my call.
Okay. I'll give it to you. Then I was just thinking during the show, and I could see that happening, and I could see Rollins somehow getting the championship, RKO versus Rollins, and his comeback. I think that's it's like sort of like a Miz Cena. It's not necessarily the biggest match, but then, I mean, hey, you could throw Lesnar in there or somebody, throw Rollins in there or somebody, Cena in there or somebody. You have 5 or 6 legit main event superstars outside of the main event.
Well, you got to remember Fastlane is actually in between. So who knows what's going to happen in the hallways at Royal Rumble or what's going to happen, like, so let's just say for all argument's sake, you say Seth Rollins is going to win, walk out with the world title, which I guess could happen. Say he wins and he cashes in Money in the Bank or whatever he has to do after he initially loses to get the title, right? Who's saying he doesn't run into Roman Reigns before the pay-per-view? Like, they just show a skit where he's like, oh, whatever, Roman, because they hate each other. And he literally interjects himself in the Royal Rumble to make sure whoever he doesn't want to face loses the Royal Rumble. And then you have the world title match at Fastlane. So, I think they can book themselves into a situation where it doesn't matter. But I'll tell you right now, Daniel Bryan's not going to win. Like, the WWE is not going to do that again. Because one thing you know about WWE, they will never, ever go with someone who's injury prone. They're not going to do it. Not that he's injury prone, but he got a really serious injury that, I mean, it was a bad injury. They can't take that chance again. And I'm not saying Daniel Bryan's injury prone, but he had a life-altering injury, a very serious injury. So, I think Daniel Bryan's going to be used sparingly. He had a great match tonight against Bray Wyatt, but, I mean, I think that match was more for him to get the kinks out because he needs matches before WrestleMania. But I think you're going to see him on a very reduced schedule.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's probably going to be like wrestling like I don't want to say Lesnar schedule, but he's going to be wrestling like TVs until then. He'll be wrestling Raw, he'll be wrestling SmackDown. I loved his comment a while back about how he wants to be the big star on SmackDown. I found it interesting. I don't know if they're just trying to build a new time slot or whatever, but that was his goal. I'm like, who the hell cares about SmackDown? I mean, hey, that's nice that you say that and stuff, but, I mean, shit, everybody knows Raw is the show. That's like saying my goal coming back, a former WWE champion, is to win the Intercontinental Championship.
Dude, can Nash enter the Royal Rumble? And why didn't Nash... That's another thing, man. Why didn't Nash take out the Ascension, man? He should have done it himself. He didn't need those guys.
No, but the thing is, number one, you got to get the APA reunited. Number two, you got Road Dogg and Billy Gunn reunited. And you set up the match of the pay-per-view.
Dude, hold on. I don't mean to cut you off. You know what? Seth Drake in chat is talking about how Edge broke his neck and got the title. Dude, I think you guys got to get over the fact Daniel Bryan's like 5'8" and 180 pounds. Dude, last year was a big thing because it was something new. They decided to go with what the fans want. Dude, when a little tiny guy like Daniel Bryan gets an injury like that, WWE is not going to tie their horse to him. Edge is a big dude. I mean, he's been with the Federation a long time. They developed him. He's their talent. The Daniel Bryan thing's over. He's never gonna be the main guy again. They're gonna have him as an attraction. He's gonna be like when HBK came back from his back injury. HBK was a featured wrestler. He was a main event wrestler, but they never put the title on him for a long period of time. And that's Daniel Bryan's role. Live with it. That's the way, to quote Batista, deal with it. That's Daniel Bryan's use, dude. And I know all the little fanboys out there, like guys like themselves. Oh, Daniel Bryan proves that I can. He is the Transformers guy. He literally is in Transformers, the little kid that's in like the Transformer that pretends like he's a Transformer, so little kids can identify with the little kid and be like, oh, I could be this kid and be with the Transformers. That's Daniel Bryan. Dude, you see tonight when the big boys come back. What
I
it's all
didn't
about.
start going to the gym and growing a ponytail and a beard, and you know what? I could be the next Daniel Bryan. I'm convinced.
You could be. He's just like anybody, like he's anybody. But the good news is, WrestleMania time always brings back the reality. And you know what? WWE is cool. Like, they let all the little gimmicky things happen. Like, Rey Mysterio had his Daniel Bryan thing. Daniel Bryan had his thing. Daniel Bryan's a one-year wonder. Chris Benoit, yes, Benoit was a one-year wonder for WWE. Rey Mysterio is a one-year wonder. They will hotshot what's hot to get buys for a year. And that's it. That's it. What big boys? Is this guy trying to excite me? I don't know. Hulk Hogan, the most established person in the history of wrestling. Brock Lesnar, Shawn Michaels. You had the real players on TV tonight. Not these jabronis we have to watch every week. We got to see the best of the best. Sting. This was a great night. This was a great night for WWE. I was so proud.
This is probably better than pay-per-views. This is probably better than pay-per-views.
It was amazing. It was just so great to see the true legends. Flair, Hogan, Sting. Arguably one of WWE's best shows of all time. This was amazing. The APA, I mean, the Outlaws. This was great. It gets no better. You know what?
I'd rather see those guys come back on a pay-per-view than come back on Raw.
Well, we wouldn't be able to cover it, so I'm really glad we get to cover this tonight. I'm almost honored.
Because there's going to be something freaking cool like that going on.
You know what's funny though? It really reminds me of something I forgot who said it. I think Kevin Nash said it when ECW was kind of big in like right before they closed, like 99 or 2000, and all the people tried to like push Mikey Whipwreck and all these complete jabronis that are just incredible, that guys trying to push them as talents, and they were trying to be everything anti WWF. And Kevin Nash said, something? If Undertaker showed up in your arena, every single talent and every single fan would literally bend over, would literally kiss Undertaker's ass, be bent over in the middle of their ring. You know what I mean? And tonight's one of those nights where you could just see the uncomfortness, like how uncomfortable today's talents are around these true legends. And whether you guys like it or not, Brock Lesnar tonight shows how he can get the crowd going if he tries. And he's a real UFC champion, a legit world champion, legit. And an literally, he wasn't the Olympian, that was Angle, but he won an NCAA title. He played NFL football. I mean, this guy's a real athlete, man. And you're putting him up against these weirdos that get into a counterculture of wrestling. Weirdos like us. It's
like him versus CM Punk. It's like, okay, how's that going to end? In 9 times out of 10, unless there's major interference or major freaking shafting going on, guess what? He's going to get his ass handed to him.
It's almost like when Triple H and Nash and all them, the Clique was backstage and they all met each other backstage, and Miz and Mizdow came out and they tried to be funny and give.
That was actually a hilarious segment. I love that segment.
Well, you know what I liked best about it was the little piece where Nash goes, "Is this what you call programming? Is this what you guys?" And Triple H goes, "I'm embarrassed by it." And there's a little bit of reality in it, man. There was a time in the late 90s, early 2000s where literally when I would go to the gym, every single person had a wrestling shirt on. Like somebody be wearing an NWO shirt, somebody be wearing a Kurt Angle shirt, and it was literally acceptable in society. And guys like Nash, guys like The Rock, guys like Stone Cold, they made it happen. But we have all these weirdos they bring up through these indie feds, and this is the shit we get, man. I want to go back to the days where there's true athletes, true talents, like Brock Lesnar, guys like that. Bring in the Olympians, instead of these guys that could do really cool moves, come on, man. Literally, I like the talented wrestlers, but they should be in their place in the card. Like in WCW, the cruiserweights were the most talented wrestlers, but they were filler, they were talented. Literally, I'll give you an example. I like some of the guys in NXT we've been talking about, like Finn Balor, for instance. All these fanboys jerk off to this guy, and he's great. He's an awesome talent. He's a great worker. But watch him, he flies and does pirouettes around the ring. he jumps up and like he thinks he's like a superhero. And that's the shit. That's why nobody watches wrestling anymore. Like, and he's awesome. Like, he's a great worker. But it's like, dude, you're like kind of a dork, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people like, you know what? Call me a muscle mark, dude. I'd rather watch Batista and Lesnar go at it, man. They're hosses, dude. They're just like badasses, dude. And that's what sells, bro. That's what really sells. And this stuff that supposedly sells is why nobody goes to wrestling shows. And the guys that go to wrestling shows don't have jobs because they follow around wrestlers and they're weirdos. And they have no money. And they have no kids, because nobody will marry them. And they go to wrestling shows because they're wackos. Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Shit, that's me. Oh my god. Oh no.
They're wackos. Look at that Ring of Honor shit. None of those people have wives or kids. They're just weirdos. They're just wackos. They're absolute wackos. It's true. There you go. Dude, I'm telling you, when you bring back the legends, you bring out the real Angry Tensai, man. You do. I was so excited about tonight's show. Thank you, Vince. Thank you, Vince. Thank you for giving us such a great show tonight.
I love the matchup with the Ascension and the New Age Outlaws. I think that could actually be a decent match, like over 10 minutes. Right. I don't know if they will actually make it over 10 minutes, but I think both those teams can go 10 minutes.
It's going to be a great match, and there's a tag title match. The Husos, because no one knows who they are, and Mizdow for the tag titles. Dude, nobody cares. The Outlaws are going to be the more cared about tag team match because they're the Outlaws.
Oh yeah, they should. What they should do, and I'm booking ahead a couple pay-per-views here at either one of the next pay-per-views. They should say, or the winner of the match between the Outlaws and the Ascension get the tag title shot at what is it? Fastlane is the new pay-per-view.
Fastlane.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that'd be a good way, because then, okay, you know what, the Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, they could put up a good fight for a while, and then eventually lose the Ascension, and hey, guess what, all of a sudden the Ascension's in the tag team title picture, where they probably should have started out, as opposed to wrestling fat, 5'10", 250-pound
You know what?
guys.
You're right. The Ascension's got the old stuff, man. That's why I like them. They got the old stuff, man. They're big bruisers, ass kickers. Connor looks like a guy, like, if I walked into a bar, I don't want a problem. I don't want to mess with Connor. He's a bad dude, And Victor's just like his tough friend, but, Connor's the one that's gonna kick your ass. But Victor's tough too, but Connor's gonna kick your ass.
Victor's the one who starts the fight, Connor's the one who finishes.
Yeah, man, exactly. I'm sure Victor could go, but Connor, man, I don't want to mess with Connor. I like their gimmick, man. Not the one they have in WWE right now, but I think they're gonna tone it down and get back to who they are. But you need that, man. You need ass kickers, dude. You don't need this flying high shit. Like, literally, you need ass kickers. Like, look at the pop Brock Lesnar got tonight. None of these guys today can get that. You think the guy doing pirouettes in the ring is gonna get that crowd reaction with flying in the air? I wrestled in Japan. No, you're not gonna get that. Because you're not Brock Lesnar, dude.
Tensai wrestled in Japan at one point.
Well, Tensai. Let's think about why I coined the name Angry Tensai. I'll just let it out here. I think if anyone figured it out by now. I thought real Tensai coming back was such a joke. And he was such an embarrassment. He's a fat pig. And he's supposed to be intimidating, and he goes over Cena. He goes over Punk. What the hell was that? Let's just say, I've never said that on these airways. It's the ultimate rib. It really is. Literally, it really is the ultimate rib. You can't just put anyone in the ring, and the fans are gonna buy him. And Tensai was one of the shittiest gimmicks in the history of professional wrestling. It truly was WrestleCraft. Thank you. There it is. Finally, on these airwaves.
The true meaning of Angry Tensai.
I think I'm just gonna implode now that I let that out. But my God, it was such an embarrassment. Literally, this guy beats John Cena week 1. And I'm like, this is Albert, man. he was just a jabroni for all the guys to get over on the Attitude Era, you know? But I don't know, man. I don't know. It's funny. But he wrestled in Japan. I mean, a bunch of 4'1" guys in Japan thought he was great, you know?
Well, shit, he put hieroglyphics on his face.
That's
so,
the thing. Yep. Just so you know, that's the new thing. All these guys now, all these kids, that are in that crowd, they get the NJPW pay-per-views, New Japan. Remember they used to have Muda and Chono and all those guys back in the day that would come over to WCW? Well, now they all watch New Japan Pro Wrestling, and they follow all these guys that essentially have like the same name and the same gimmick, and they're all look the same. They're all like our United States Ring of Honor guys. They're all like 5'10" to 6 foot, 200 to 220, and they do really cool moves. My God.
I was gonna say, do they all spew a green mist still, or is that not all of them anymore?
He was awesome. Muda was different. You need supernatural. Like here is kind of like, you know, it's funny. Fitz, our buddy Fitz, he had a YouTube video he was doing like a sports blog a couple years ago, and he said, you know what's missing from WWE and wrestling in general? Gimmicks. And I agree with him. You know where wrestling went wrong? When people would come out and their name would be Seth Draken or Tom Jones. They would just have a regular name. And that's when it all ended to me. And the thing I like about the Ascension is they are kind of a gimmick. And that's cool, man. When they first came out, they had the supernatural thing going. You know, you need that. You need gimmicks. People like gimmicks. You know, we gotta use our imagination because I think that's what makes it cool. And it just like, the gimmicks can make it where a 5'1" guy can beat a 7 foot guy, okay? But if everybody's gonna be even with the same names and just wear black ring gear and just jump off top rope, well then it's not interesting anymore. And that's why we have no fans anymore. That's why it's like, you know, look at the buy rates from pay-per-views in the late 90s to now. You know, and I think maybe WWE will wise up and go back to that. Cause then you'll get the people that have money. The people that want to be entertained. Because the people who actually have the money literally have real jobs, and they want to get like. But think about like, hold on, Vic. Think about like Family Guy. Why do people watch that? Because it's nonsense, and literally it takes you away for a few hours where from your job where you're managing people, you're working your ass off. Like it just takes you away from reality, right? And wrestling now with all the real characters, it's kind of like pointless because there's nothing to do except win the title. Back in the day, there were feuds over gimmicks, over things, and I think they've gotten away from getting the common viewer interested. And if you're gonna make it with all real names and the black tights, then they're gonna watch MMA because it's the real version of this.
Yeah. You know what? I agree completely. And you think about it, like 10 years ago, Batista. Who the hell did he come in as? Not Dave Batista. Not Batista. He came in as the Reverend Batista.
He was Deacon Batista, and in OVW, he was Leviathan, who was literally...
He was the Reverend?
He was
Dave
a demon.
Okay.
He was a freaking demon in OVW.
Yeah, but I mean, even in WWE, he started out as... the Reverend Dave Batista, and he came out with what's his name?
Reverend Devon.
Okay, yeah, he was Deacon and came out with Reverend Devon. I mean, like, look at that angle. Even John Cena, I mean, he started out, he sort of still like it, but he's now more of a badass. But he started out sort of like a rapping guy. I mean, shit. Started out, I think that's sort of a good way for wrestlers to sort of cut their teeth. As like, okay, you know what? We're going to give them an interesting angle. I mean, shoot, you had, what's his name, freaking Scott Hall and Undertaker. They had ridiculous angles early in their career.
Well,
Kevin Nash, he was like the Grand Wizard or something.
Play to your strengths. Play to your strengths. Here are the 3 strengths. Your point, gimmicks. No other sport or genre can do gimmicks and put it on as a sporting event. So you can do that. Tag team wrestling. Tag team fights are unprecedented. MMA cannot compete with tag team wrestling if it's done right. You do a tornado tag match, and that's the only type of tag matches you have, it'd be pretty interesting, right? Remember all the Extreme Rule stuff that we've gotten away from, the unsafe chair shots and all that? I get all that. That's crazy. But you know what? Every now and then, that'll catch your attention, because it's different. And then stables. Factional fighting. literally nothing to me is cooler than a group of people that represent one thing versus a group of people that represent another thing. And we've gotten away from that. Literal teams of people fighting other teams of people, right? One of my favorite angles of all time, and you know this, was Team USA versus the Hart Foundation. And when you were in Canada, the Hart Foundation were faces. And when you were in USA, the Road Warriors, Goldust, Stone Cold, and Shamrock were faces. And
I remember going to SummerSlam with you thinking we were going to get in fights with Canadians.
We did! But the thing is, they don't have to feud over the title when you do that. Because there's a natural thing they're fighting over, right? They're fighting over their factions. And then you take all those 10 people and give them something meaningful, and then you separate the titles. And now, you just have match 1, 2 guys doing flips. Match 2, 2 guys doing flip. You know what I mean? It's stupid. And I want to see us get back to that.
The problem, I'm gonna add on what you're saying here. And I'm like, the more you're talking, the more I'm agreeing. A year ago, what did we have going on as far as stables? We had the Shield and the Wyatt.
Loved it.
Right now, we have a New Day versus Tyson Kidd, Cesaro, and Adam Rose.
Horrible. Dude, I love what you're saying. February Elimination Chamber. I don't think I was ever as pumped up for a match than heel Shield versus heel Wyatt family. The place went crazy. Guys, do yourself a favor. Pull that match. And I will say that was the best 6-man match ever wrestled. It was awesome. Because it's factions, man. And it was so meaningful. And then Evolution started feuding with all these guys. It was a great time, man. And then tag teams were going. Because the Rhodeses were fighting. The Usos who were fighting. The Outlaws. You know what, man? They really lost a lot of momentum after WrestleMania. They really did.
Yeah. I mean, I get Outlaws aren't a full-time tag team. I understand that. But, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. Like you said, there's no real... I mean, I guess it's sort of the Authority versus Cena and his random band of Cena-ites. That was like the feud at Survivor Series. But, I mean, if you put a feud like, okay, the Wyatts and one other guy versus the Shield and one other guy, that would be pretty badass, too. Because, I mean, shoot, you could even eliminate the one or two other guys on each team and just have it be Shield versus Wyatts.
When the Shield came down to fight the Wyatts at Elimination Chamber, they literally crossed over, for me, as a unit, to Legendary. Literally, when they came down for that match, I was like, here comes the varsity. Like, finally. Like, somebody earned my respect at that level in the new era that wasn't, one of the top 2 guys. And individually, the Shield, they're all great, but they're not, it's going to take them a while to get to where they need to go. But together as a unit, you really believe they were unbeatable. And, I haven't had that feeling in a while. And tonight, though, I'll be honest with you, when Nash, Hall, and X-Pac came out with the NWO logo wearing the gear, I'm like, you know what? They might be old men, but the varsity just showed up. And that was pretty cool. And when they grabbed the mic, dude, they worked the mic. Just listen to Nash tonight. Dude, they are so much better than anybody talking on today's WWE TV. Everybody today cannot talk. They can talk. The only guys that can talk are The Rock when he comes back, Chris Jericho when he comes back. Bray Wyatt can talk. I like Bray Wyatt, but he's one of the few that can actually talk. If you could take Seth Rollins' skills and put them with Bray Wyatt talking, you would have something special. Something real special.
One more thing to go back to, I don't think I watched, because I think the Elimination Chamber last year was right before WWE Network, so you actually had to pay like $40 to watch it. I don't think I watched it. But I do remember watching the Raw before, where literally it was the Shield on one side of the ring, facing off the Wyatts on the other side of the ring, and they were both sitting outside the ring, they both got up on a ring apron, and the crowd is going bananas. The crowd was freaking going apeshit over this. And they had us on the edge of our seats. I'm like, holy crap. Like you said, this is what faction wrestling is all about. Now you have a New Day versus Adam Rose and a Bunny. Or I think the Bunny's injured, so I don't know who the hell it is now, but you get the idea. I mean, it's sad. Is what they've done to it.
If you want to see a good old school wrestling match, and you didn't watch Raw tonight, take a look at Dean Ambrose versus Wade Barrett tonight. That was a good little match. It wasn't a long match, but I liked the ending sequence. Dean Ambrose was still hurt, was still selling his knee injury from his match with Rusev. But I really thought Dean Ambrose was going to lose when he took that risk at the top of the rope, and he was about to get bullhammered, but he was able to get out of it and hit the dirty deeds. It was a good little match, and it was a nice little match for two guys that I like a lot. And do yourself a favor, take a look at it. Ambrose needed that win, and I don't think it really hurts Wade Barrett at all.
Barrett's he's still a champion, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, Dean Ambrose, he's been putting people over left and right, it feels like. The thing is, he can get away with it. How do you feel, like, look at the Shield. They broke up 9 months ago, let's say.
Yep.
It was like right after the pay-per-view, after WrestleMania, I guess. It was like 9 months ago, maybe like eight months ago. Look at the accomplishments of them. Who of the three is the least over?
Probably Reigns.
Exactly. If you said that a year ago, I would have called you fucking crazy if you said, hey, you know what, Reigns going to be the least over of the three. Dean Ambrose, hey, you know what?
I think Dean Ambrose is the most over. He doesn't even win, and he's over.
You know what? I think Dean Ambrose is probably...
He's awesome.
Like,
I love him.
Top 3 or 4 wrestlers in WWE. Top 3 or 4 draws. Maybe they start selling a DA shirt, and they can justify put up there.
I mean,
he's a heel and he's sort of a chicken shit heel, but everyone hates him. And literally, you can bring me out, and I'm a freaking asshole. You can bring freaking you out with me, and we can double team him. And guess what? We're still going to get a rub because we're fighting Seth Rollins.
Rollins is very good, and Rollins, he's a good heel. He's kind of like a Rick Rude type heel. He doesn't have to say a lot. He can just back it up out there. But I actually think when all is said and done, he'll go down as a great wrestler, maybe not an excellent or a legend. I truly believe Dean Ambrose has the potential, and you call me crazy, but I truly think he has the complete package to be literally the next guy. Literally John Cena, literally Stone Cold to The Rock to John Cena to Dean Ambrose. I literally believe that, as crazy as that sounds. I believe that he potentially could do that. Now, I think Dolph Ziggler could, even though he's not a great talker. He's okay, but they're not going to let him. They'll never let him. They're never going to trust him. I think Ambrose has the potential to be the guy they go to next, as crazy as that sounds.
No, I absolutely, I'll back you up 100%.
Undertaker has wrestled one non-WrestleMania match in the last 3 years. Do you know who that was against?
Singles. Shield, wasn't it?
It's Dean Ambrose on SmackDown.
Really?
Yep.
I think that, and again, I'm not sitting backstage, so I don't know this, or I don't feel this, or I don't have inside sources or anything. But it seems like the Ascension, let's say they go up to Kevin Nash and Ric Flair or whatever, or Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, X-Pac, backstage, and they're like, okay, and it's this is what you guys are going to do out there. You're like, oh, fuck. Okay, and then what do you want us to do? And then what do you want us to do? I can see, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns going in there, and I can literally see Dean Ambrose start it to be let's do this, this, and this. And, talking to them as peers. Not that he is a veteran, but, you can see, he has the respect of veterans. And that's what I like about him. He can get in the ring with, Ric Flair and do something, and it would be freaking awesome. He could do a segment with Ric Flair.
Because he can talk, dude. And the old guys, that is so important, being able to, really talk. And even if you get handed a script, being able to actually make it mean something. And I think that's the problem all of today's guys have. And that's what made CM Punk great. I mean, he could really talk, and he was great. Some of CM Punk's best stuff, I think, was when he was injured, and he was, honestly, I think he was one of the best play-by-play guys WWE's ever had. He was awesome as an announcer, and that's what makes CM Punk so good. I mean, and not that he's not a great worker, but man, the dude can talk. I mean, he's just amazing. He's an amazing talker. And, I think to be great and to be a legend, you have to be able to. And I think even John Cena has heard him. He's good on the mic and he tells a good story, but he's not great. to be great, that's tough. There's not a lot of guys who can do it. We heard Triple H talk for entire shows. He never was great. I think he was good.
Yeah, I like Rollins. He's that person who can literally sit there and be like, okay, like he earns the respects of veterans. Like he doesn't like show up and like, I'm the freaking star or I'm freaking awesome or whatever. He seems like he respects. Like he would just like flat out say no if he had like a line fed in like the Ascension. Whereas the Ascension are freaking guinea pigs and they're getting like serious. Go back to NXT heat.
They did not get love from the crowd. I mean, I felt really bad for them.
They got booed by the crowd. The crowd was like, "What the? Who the fuck are these guys?"
Man.
3 weeks now. They haven't even wrestled their first pay-per-view, and they're out here with Scott Hall and Kevin Nash.
I know, it's almost like that they're being like literally shit on, and I don't like it. But it is what it is. I'm glad those other guys got a chance to come out. But we're getting the call to wrap up from Killer Kev. Let's ask you real quick before we do. I know you picked RKO as well as I to win the Royal Rumble. I like that we're both going that direction. The main event, or not the main event, but the world title match. So you really do think Seth Rollins is going to walk away with it?
I think Lesnar wins the match. I think Seth Rollins walks out of the pay-per-view with the title.
I think Brock Lesnar pins Seth Rollins, tries to continue to beat John Cena after the match. John Cena probably will attitude adjust Lesnar. Your man Rollins will cash in, and going for the curb stomp, he will be put in a submission move. He will tap out. Seth Rollins will lose twice in one night to Brock Lesnar. There it is.
Wow. I like that. That's creative. I like that.
Dude, and it will. Brock Lesnar will have more momentum going into WrestleMania than any wrestler ever going into WrestleMania. And whoever beats him at WrestleMania will be legend.
That he can go into WrestleMania with more momentum than he has right now is by after doing that, if he just starts freaking just raping John Cena and be like, yo, this isn't gay, this is due to start authority.
Well, you know what? You look at the Royal Rumble itself, though, and you have Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns, potentially Dolph Ziggler, RKO out of nowhere, you're going to find out really who WWE trusts going into the next generation. Because there are a lot of ways they could go with this. And I'm almost positive the only way they're not going to go is Roman Reigns. I do think he's going to come out looking great, but he's not going to win.
Yeah, I feel like Roman Reigns, I feel like he's going to get his WrestleMania match. It'll get lined up there, whether it's back, like you said, backstage or lined up at the next pay-per-view. I thought we'll see, and just going a couple of pay-per-views ahead. Let's pick the matches really quick. They kept stay up a little bit later than he wants to, but we'll pick the matches really quick. But for WrestleMania, I definitely want to call Sting and Triple H.
Definitely.
I don't think Undertaker coming back. Apparently, there's been like pictures of him like looking really, really, really out of shape. And either Daniel Bryan or Roman Reigns to beat Rusev to end his undefeated streak.
I think Roman Reigns will be paired off with John Cena.
Against John Cena?
Yes.
Wow.
Because they love... Listen, WWE really likes Roman Reigns. They do. And they want to give him a big win in a big way. But they don't want to chance Batista heat, Reigns winning. It's got to be somebody the crowd will be okay with if Daniel Bryan does not win the Royal Rumble. And I think there's only 3 acceptable people that the WWE would accept if it was not Daniel Bryan. That's probably... And Ambrose might even be a stretch, but I think he's one. I think Ziggler's definitely the other. And then definitely RKO out of nowhere. They like that RKO shit right now so much that he actually could go over right now. And I think a lot of people want to see him fight Brock Lesnar. And I think WWE would let him beat Brock Lesnar. Because he's one of their boys. He's one of their favorite guys. So I'm saying Lesnar or in WrestleMania. Cena, Reigns, WrestleMania. I'm not sure what they're going to do with Rusev and Daniel Bryan. Maybe each other.
Or, you know what, maybe even Rusev, Dean Ambrose. They did it last week, but...
I mean, you could have Dean Ambrose versus Daniel Bryan. You could do anything. WrestleMania is great because you could have face versus face or heel versus heel, whatever you want to do, you know? So, it should be interesting.
Yeah, I just wish there were more... I wish there was sort of a tag team division.
I do think the Ascension is going to rebound. I think they're going to beat the Outlaws, and I think at WrestleMania they're going to win the tag titles. I'm serious. I'm not kidding around.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely think they beat the Outlaws. I think the Outlaws put them over because, I mean, shit, the Outlaws are a one-trick pony. I mean, they come back for this, maybe the next pay-per-view, but in reality, I think that the Ascension should have at least wrestled outside of... They beat Mizdow, right?
Oh, yeah. They killed them.
I didn't like that at all.
I loved it.
I loved it, except I love that. But then if they beat, like, the next week and they beat the Usos, or the next week they beat, like, legit
tag titles the first night out, man. They've been handled completely misproperly. As much as I love all the guys that kicked their ass tonight, I just wish it wasn't the Ascension. I felt so bad for them. I really did. Because I like them. And I wish it was any other fanboy tag team that people love. Like, honestly, I wish it was the guy who does the pirouettes that came out and everybody was jerking off and then Nash just powerbombed him through the floor. I would have enjoyed that.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen, what's his name, Adam Rose get his ass kicked tonight.
My favorite Adam Rose match of all time was when he was undefeated and they booked him against Kane and Kane literally went in the ring, stepped over the top rope, choke slammed him, and pinned him. And I'm like, thank you. Every once in a while they give Kane something cool. They're like, you know what, you're our boy. We're going to give you something good. Every once in a while. But you know one thing I noticed, and we'll, you know, this will be the last thing. Kane's character, and I love the way Kane tells the story. Man, Kane really hates Daniel Bryan in, like, WWE lore. I mean, they used to be a really big tag team, but Kane, like, the way he acts towards Daniel Bryan, I know in real life he doesn't, but Kane as a character really wants to screw over Daniel Bryan, like, doesn't he? Like, there's just such a feud between those two.
Yeah, and I mean, it might go back to Team Hell Yeah. I thought that they both made out pretty well there, but I guess I get a little pissed off that Daniel Bryan got a bit more of a rub than him.
Yeah, man. It just seems like, you know, if you look at Kane's character, like, he can never recover from Daniel Bryan making it big, and he's become this bitter, just nasty guy, you know, and it's just like it's almost like he blames Daniel Bryan for everything. I really want to see more with that, and I know Kane's at the end of his career, but I think there's a lot of underlying story there, and if you're gonna tell a soap opera, go all the way with it, man, you know? Like, dig deeper into that storyline, you know?
Exactly. I want to see South Park type storylines.
Well, we do have to get going out of here. Now, I know I want to get Kevin on here for a second. It is the 200th Raw Reaction +1, I think. But he's going to talk a little bit about the other shows on the network, I'm sure. As you know, we had Stevie Ray from Harlem Heat on the Undisputed Wrestling show a couple weeks ago. That was pretty cool.
It's actually the 200th anniversary of the first edition of Raw Reaction.
The 200th anniversary? We've had... You mean the 200th show?
There was the first one, and then there have been 200 more.
Every week's an anniversary when you're on Raw Reaction. Kev, you want to talk about our lineup? You want to mention Stevie Ray from Harlem Heat or anybody else?
Well,
Kevin?
I'm looking to see who we got tomorrow night. Headbanger Thrasher was supposed to be on last week. He had to bow out at the last second, but we got him rescheduled for Tuesday, January the 27th. Tomorrow night on Undisputed Wrestling Show, we are going to have independent wrestler Lynn Oddity. This is an interesting looking character just by looking at his photo.
Len Oddity?
Lenn Oddity. Oddity.
Quick question. You mentioned this show is on Tuesday. Is Tuesday near Tuesday and Wednesday? Like, where does that fall on the calendar?
It's Tuesday.
You mean Tuesday?
Are you mocking my accent?
I'm really sorry.
You're a dick.
It's a Kentucky accent.
You're a dick.
When is the interview, the Stevie Ray interview, going to be up on the site? The
interview with Stevie Ray Styles is already up. Tomorrow night, in addition to Mr. Lynn Oddity, we are also going to have independent women's wrestler Celine Gray on the show.
Will she send me pictures?
Is that a girl?
Yes.
I'm looking up Lynn Oddity right now.
You know, Angry Tetsu, we almost forgot, bro. We almost forgot Rusev wrestling, what's his name? R-Truth.
That was terrible. You know what? Lynn Oddity looks pretty cool.
I texted you, again, predicting the future, and I said, has R-Truth been paying attention this last year? This isn't going to be pretty. And
it wasn't pretty.
Tapping like a little bitch in about 2 minutes.
I'm looking up all these wrestlers he was talking about. Is Celine, who is Celine, what's the name? Celine what?
Celine Gray.
I can't find anything on this person.
Grey. Well, I mean, if you don't find anything immediately on the internet, then perhaps you should listen to the show tomorrow night. Although, when I do a search for Celine Gray, first thing that comes up is I get a list of videos of matches.
Oh, wait, I spelled her name wrong.
Ah, okay. Let's see. I see a video here of her versus KO Kendra from PCW.
Who's having Celine Gray on the Undisputed show?
Undisputed Wrestling. I don't know if she's on. I don't know if she's on in first hour or second though.
How'd they find this girl?
They go out and they find a lot of people all over the place. Rick,
a lot of women who do anything for money.
I'm gonna tell you guys something.
Rick and Zane do a very, very thorough job, very hard job of finding guests who want to be interviewed, who deserve some shine, and want to get them promoted.
I'm a fan of Rick and Zane for sure. But I'm gonna tell you something. I think for Celine Gray, this is a job for Big Dick and Angry Ted's Eye. Let me tell you something.
She works for PC Wrestling.
Let me tell you something. This Celine Gray, she catches my eye. She looks like the type of girl that she would do things to you that you would only see in like a little bit of a questionable porn video, you know, where they're amateurs, but they're not really amateurs, but they are amateurs. That's what I'm seeing here. I like what I say.
Very nice. I might have to. Is this a video cast or is this just a podcast still?
I have a feeling that's going to be edited out, but I like what I say. Daddy like ye. What else you got, Kev?
That's all I got to plug tonight.
If you guys need us to come on to interview Celine Gray, we certainly will, because we want to know more about her career. We want to help promote Celine. We want to get her out there, and
we want her to give us some rub.
Thanks, Kev. I was sure this is how you wanted the 200th episode to wrap up.
Well, you know, it wouldn't be Angry Tenzai and Big Vic's Raw Reaction if it didn't.
True. Well, you know what, Kev? Well, we appreciate the mic time and the air time. This was a great 200th episode. We're really excited for Monday or Tuesday when we get to hear Celine Gray. I'm sure we'll all be listening attentively, amongst other things. So, I don't know, Big Dick, anything you want to add? You know, wrap us up, Big Dick. I got nothing to say. I got Celine Gray on the mind.
Wow, I'd have to Google Celine Gray. She sounds like a real, somebody who give us some rub. The Raw Reaction, it is.
Oh, totally.
Seems like a good girl. What I'd like to say is your dark horse for the Royal Rumble, Zach Allen.
Oh, no.
He cannot be eliminated.
He can't be eliminated. That's a good point. That's a good
Give
point.
him a chance. He cannot be eliminated.
What about Benoit? He can't be eliminated either. Dude, we gotta interview Gray, man.
I heard she's a really, really nice girl. Real up and comer. Real bulldog.
She's gonna be like, who are you guys? Zane and who? Anyway.
Yeah, just send us naked pictures.
I love those guys. They're great guys. Anyway, thank you. I hope this is our last show.
We've said that every episode, and they still haven't replaced us with Canadians.
You know what, man? We loved Raw tonight. I mean, it was a great product. You know what? But we got to wrap it up. For Big Dick, Kill the Kev, Angry Tensai, Celine Gray. This is the 200th episode of Raw Reaction. Thank you.
Hit the music, Kev.